Okay, so before I begin this, I'd like to say that Kamen Rider is owned by Toei. This is also not a dig at Toyhappy. This is just a reaction video because I just happened to come across this and found it pretty friggin' hilarious, honestly, as to how bad this is. From what I've seen of it, it's a Kamen Rider Zi-O toy review. I have no idea what he's saying, but I'd like to just look at the toy itself and just talk about how bad it is. So, let's begin, and I'll actually got something I want to show a bit later with this, but
はい、こんにちは、トイハッピーです。ご視聴ありがとうございます。今回の動画はもうこちらです。2020年最後の動画、間に合う。
okay, so right off the bat, there's already a few issues just on the packaging alone, which is normal for bootlegs. So already the packaging and colors are supposed to say that it's Kamen Rider was. But for starters, that's a Saku driver, which is actually what Zi-O and Gates use. Zi-O and sorry, not Zi-O, Woz uses something called a Beyond driver. The figure itself is actually of Zi-O in base form, just with that typical bootleg color. And I'll wait till he actually opens it. Oh, sorry, or I mean, until we can see this particular bit in a better light.
月、12月とね、動画の本数増やす予定だったんだけど、撮影はしてるんだけど未編集がすごい多かったり、アップまでに至ってないものがすごい多かったんですよ。でね、2019年はね、383本だったかな、動画本数。で、今年に
I'm just going to skip ahead because I don't have captions or anything, and I don't understand enough of Japanese.
また別なんですけど、
So again, okay, so here, oh wow, that actually looks pretty horrific on that. But that thing on the wrist, on the waist there, that's actually the Beyond driver that Woz uses. So that's actually what the driver is supposed to look like. Not the Zaku, not this thing, which is the Zaku driver. Also, I've just noticed this. This is gonna be hilarious. This is pretty hilarious to me because well, also it looks a bit. It's I think it's saying it's supposed to make sound, but
なのでね、
I also just noticed that just hero.
いろいろ見て
That's
い
pretty
きたいと思い
funny.
ます。腰に巻いてるベルトがかなり荒ぶってて、塗装がすごい飛び散ってんだよね。どうやったらこんなになるのかっていうのが謎ですけど。
So I think there he was just pointing out that it's the figure is wearing the Zaku, not the Beyond drivers.
はい、これ系はね、ちょっと好きな人嫌いな人かなりね、分かれると思うんですけど、
Okay, if he could
嫌
just
いな方は
okay. Sorry for any weird jump cuts. I don't know if that's happening because of whatever. Sorry, not jump cuts. The way the screen's sounding weird. This is
そのまま
actually there we go. So that's not even Waz's watch. Hell, that's not even Zio's. That's Gates's watch. So we've got the package. So we've got we got the Trinity right here. The pack. If the thing would stop freaking out. I don't know if it's freaking out. It'll be freaking out recording, but whatever. It's freaking out on my screen. We got Waz on the packaging as supposedly the character. The figure is of Zi-O, and the watch is of Gates. Oh, don't worry. We're gonna get to that watch. That's also pretty funny.
さんなんですけれども、これまっすぐ立たないタイプ、ちょっと前のめりになってる。
That is
これ後ろに向けてあげれば。
that figure is horrific looking. It can't even stand.
パッケージに書いてある人と全然姿が違います。で、白地のプラで、青のプリント、緑のプリントで、文字が書いてます。ライターって書いてある。はい、で、胸。なんかこれ光りそうだね。なんか LED っぽいのがくっついてる。で、ベルト。これはちょっとね、フィギュアだから簡略化されてんだけど、本来だったらこっちがついてるのかなといったとこ
Sorry,
ろ
I'm
で
just
す。
showing it.
で、可動部
Wait,
分
the
があっ
download.
て、
That articulation is about what you'd expect.
斜めのラインから開く。
I'm just gonna skip ahead
斜
here
めのライン
because
ちょっと入れてみましょう。中華製品を
So it takes two double A's apparently. Sorry, triple A's. That's pretty bad for a budget ass toy.
で、まあ、電池カバーはネジ止めもできるらしいんだけど、ネジ止めなしでそのままいきましょうか。はい。で、ボタンを押す。
Okay, so for a heads up, you're going to hear some sounds in the background, but because I got a flash belt up, I'll explain that when I actually get to a bit, but I'm basically going to make it play the sound that it's supposed to be making now, so actually no, I'll let it do its thing first, so that then you can actually hear what it sounds like, and then I'll actually do the thing so you can actually hear what it's supposed to sound like. Okay, so you heard that. Now, I'm just going to use the flash belt in the background because I don't want to bring it up right now, but I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you what it was supposed to sound like. You're going to hear the whole thing because I didn't actually set it up earlier. So that's actually what it was supposed to sound like. Not wherever the crap that was. You're also going to hear the removal noise because, well, I have to remove it for a later thing.
過去聞いたことある音声がそのまま入ってるね。でもこれちょっと立たないんだよね。
He just kind of screws about it.
けるっていうのは
But I'm going to skip ahead.
こちら。これもね、ちょっと電池
Now we're talking about the watch. So, I will admit they've actually modeled it after the proper watches, because what those are, it's a thing that enables the Zaku drivers, the actual ones, to read which watch that is. So, I guess if you plug this into an actual proper official official merchandise Zaku driver, it would possibly read as one of the watches.
電池入れてみます。はい、電池をね、入れてみました。
Okay, this is funny.
こっちには回らない。
So he just tried turning it the way you would expect, but
回らないか。こうか。
okay. Oh, I don't think you can actually see my cursor. I wonder if I can tell it to. Oh no, okay. It's just not showing it. So I probably have to desize it so you can see my cursor for a sec. Can we actually see my cursor? Okay, no. So it's being weird with that. Okay, so you see that arrow on the right side of the watch over by his hand? That's actually supposed to say which slot. That shows which direction or which slot of the Zaku driver it's meant to go into. For main rider watches, it's supposed to be on the left. So for Gates and Zi-O, it's supposed to be on the left.
なんかね、向きがおかしい気がするけど。
This comes to be a problem.
光る。押しっぱなしで光る。で、後ろ見てみよう。そう、スピーカーがないんだよね。
Sorry, no, that looks right actually. I thought that looked. Oh no, sorry. Now I remember. So let me just rewind and get him to where we can see it from the front again. Okay, so the issue is, yes, the arrow's in the right place. However, the ride watch face that's supposed to form Gates's helmet when you're looking at it is upside down. The symbol on the bottom there is actually meant to be on the top.
なんかね、向きがおかしい気がするけど。
When you
で、ボタンを押す。
he actually also it's not making the noises. You'll hear what that watch is supposed to be doing when we get to the point.
で、後ろ見てみよう。そう、スピーカーがないんだよね。
Because because I'm just going to say it. I'm actually going to show what I mean.
光るベゼル部分をね付け替えると、このような回転でこうはなりますね。
Okay, so now he's managed to get it to look proper on the face, but the arrow is facing the wrong way for the Gates Ride watch. As I said, the watch for the Gates watch, the arrow that is now pointing left should be pointing to the right.
で
Of course, it's not making any noise.
このバックルでこちらもね後ろを見ると、電池カバーがあって
Three triple A,
今度電池
three AAA. So
で電
this thing's a battery guzzler.
でこれを押すことによって回転はするんだけど
Does the turning, but doesn't even make the noises.
でさ
Okay, so I'm gonna slightly rewind that a little to hopefully get a clear shot.
問題はスイッチ
Okay, so you slide the watch in there, and there'd be things in here that it would trigger. That would tell an official driver what watch you've just put in, so what stuff, well, what LEDs and such to light up on where it says 2000 over here.
の時計これを
Right, so... Okay, so you can see the problem. So now, I'm going to call up what's known as a Flashbelt. This is something that someone has made in DeviantArt that enables you to play with the belt as if, well, with a driver in Flash. So this is the Zi-O driver. This is the... I'm just going to close that for a sec. This is the Zaku driver as it's meant to look. So, the left slot is for your main rider watches. So, for Zi-O, Gates, these dudes who I forget the names of, Tsukiyomi. Actually, I just say I can't say I don't know the names of. I haven't really watched Zi-O yet because I want to watch the other riders because of him being an anniversary. But Tsukiyomi and there's and Zi-O Oma form. The right slot is for armor ones, is for enhancement watches, as I'm going to call them. Usually armor watches of previous riders. So, well, I'll first show what I mean by how the Gates watch should have looked. So if I tell it to call up the Gates watch, so we have Gates here. So I click on it. That's how the watch should look. The arrow pointing left. Press the top. I know that both sides are flashing. That's just to let me know I can put it in either slot. Because the toys will also accept... I think he's based on the toy. But they will accept a ride watch in either slot and play quite happily. But for now, let's just go with standard Gates. Okay, I have to. Henshin! So now, that's how the driver should look. With Gates' watch sitting in it, and everything ready to go. So if he wanted to, he could do his final attack by hitting his watch, spinning the thing, and off he goes. So as for what the one in the bootleg was looking like, it was looking like an enhancement watch, or an armor watch. So I'm just going to pick one from a random series here. You know what? Let's go for the first series I ever finished. Build. And just go with the build armor. Without going into the specifics of the ride watches, because that's getting into lore stuff, if this was me right now, I would now be Kamen Rider Gates build armor using the powers of Kamen Rider Build, which would mean also I would have a distinct advantage against one of the particular baddies of the week. But as you can see, the arrow on the ride watch for build is pointing to the left because they're meant to meet in the middle. Instead, what the watch is doing is, if I were to do the same thing, though to make it easier to see, I'm going to use a different watch. Let's use, you know what? Let's use Mighty Brothers left. I believe that's left. So, look at that. I'm going to mute that so you can actually hear me a bit better. Where's the thing? So basically, what that looks like is that you've got the arrow pointing the wrong way because the Gates watch is in that bootleg anyways, has the faceplate being an enhancement watch if you have the thing facing so that the faceplate looks how it should. That's pretty bad, actually. I'm just going to quickly fire that while it's muted so that I can unmute that for later without it suddenly appearing in the recording. And now we can get back to looking at the rest of this toy. This was something I thought I could do while I was filming. Yeah, so here... Yeah, so he had to flip it. That's what usually happens with the toy as well, if you end up putting a main watch into the armor slot. It has to go upside down because the track actually forces you to do that. Also, I love the fact that they just put a thing in there just so it basically says 2019, which actually I think that's... I'm going to quickly look that up. I'm trying to think who that could be. Because I don't think that's... Oh, wow! Okay, so we even got a bit of future going on in here. Because I just looked up who the Kamen Rider would be for 2019, which is what the thing is supposed to be displaying. So we not only have Zi-O and Woz on this... Zi-O, Gates, and Woz on this bootleg Zaku driver. We have 2019, which is Kamen Rider Zi-O, the rider after Zi-O. So we getting future up in here. That's pretty hilarious considering Zi-O's whole thing is time travel and using the watches of previous times. This whole theme is time. That's pretty friggin' hilarious. I just noticed that. I'm guessing he didn't have the batteries incorrect. Oh, and it just lights up to kind of simulate the Zaku driver effects. Do we have any? What are those ones? Oh, he's showing... Has no... Yeah, it has no... He's showing that it has only the one rail, which I think triggers the light effect on the watch when it's in the driver. Because normally, as you saw during my attempt at doing the gate... Well, at me showing the Gates transformation... What it would do is there'd be multiple pegs in those where he's got the tweezers, and the watch would push some of them down, which tells the driver what watch is in. So it will make the display show all the display stuff, whereas the sound will actually come from the watch itself.
そう電池がなくなるまで光り続ける仕様。まあこのフィギュアと同じようにこっち側に
Heck,
つけるんであれば、
looking at it, actually, I don't even think the tag matters, because there's a little switch on the end of it. That little green thing that's kind of just sticking out, that's possibly what does it.
装填する。あ、今電源切れてた。接点復活した。装填したら光るんだ。はい。ということでね、装填した時に光ります。
I mean, I guess if you don't mind a neon green Deku driver that doesn't really play the noises, and you're just a little kid that's really, really into Kamen Rider, but your parents just can't afford a proper DX belt, this would work. I suppose. Not dissing you or anything. I suppose this works. It's just kind of funny how absolutely shameless and bad this knockoff is. Like, they couldn't even at least include the Watch of the Rider. Like, you can actually see it better there, how that's gates, and you can also see my issue with the arrow, how it's pointing the wrong way.
同じタイミングではなさそうだな。途中でずれてる。あ、なんだろう。電池入れたままついてたのは何だったんだで、こっちね。
Okay, he's just kind of fiddling around there, so gonna skip ahead. Wait, did... Holy crap, is it... Did it actually just... Hold up. So it makes the same noise as the figure, but also it doesn't do it how it should be done. And it sounds just as bad, but it also doesn't do it in the same way that the deluxe toys would. So, okay, so the deluxe toys, how they do it is they fully allow you to replicate the henshin sequence. So, like I did with the Flashbelt, the actual toy version would do the little patino noise as each watch goes into the slot. Then it would play the standby noise, which we heard for both Zi-O and Gates, until you press the button up the top, which unlocks the faceplate, and then you spin it round, like he was showing earlier. Like if I rewind a little, I think he does it. Uh, Not like that. Where did he do it? Seriously, I forget when you did this. Okay, so he does it here. So you press the button, which detaches it, and then you spin it. And the spinning, and there's probably two switches in the driver which tell it it's done the spin, play the henshin noises. But it's supposed to allow you to just fully replicate it, not just play the noise because you inserted the watch. Wait. Also, I don't think he's saying the phrase. I don't know who that is, but I think he's saying ikuzo, which is let's go, if I recall correctly. My Japanese is very bad, so sorry if I butchered it, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. He's not saying henshin, which means transformation. Which means transform. And it's the typical sound used. I mean, I guess some writers have not said henshin when they transform. Usually done in more times where it's meant to be shown as a more quicker transformation and they're not just playing the full sequence. Also, that's bad. That is real bad. So just because the watch was sitting there, it started playing the noise again. So basically, as long as you got a watch in that right slot, it's just going to keep sounding off. That's bad. That is real bad for any toy. Especially one that's supposed to be as complex as a driver for Kamen Rider. because you would need both the, and especially one like the Zaku driver, because you would need both the main watch and the armor watch in both slots to perform a finisher with whatever armor. So if you were using this as a toy to play Kamen Rider with, you would have a watch on your left side to be your main rider watch that you transform into, and a ride watch on the right to be your armor watch. And just the fact that that watch is sitting there, that toy is going to be sounding off every minute or so. That's going to get on yours and your parents' nerves very damn quick.
ほう光るだけじゃなかった。というこんなベルトです。はい。まあ、以前ね、こち
Are
ら
you
の
serious?
時計
Hold
の
up.
この音声はというこんなベルトです。はい。まあ、以前ね、こちらの時計
Re-
というこんなベルトです。
the only thing I could even think of there, which I'm hoping that Hecky proves me right, is they made that they've programmed it similar, and that's the standby noise. If that's the case, then yikes.
はい。まあ、以前ね、こちらの時計風なやつだけでもこの音声はあったんですけども、それと同じか。こっちだと
Doesn't do it in the left slot.
で、反対だとなる。はい。ちなみにね、ベルト止めがこれ。
Okay, so he's not going to show whether it's a standby. That I'm just going to assume that since it's a bootleg toy, it just keeps sounding off whenever it's in the right slot.
結構硬い。と、ベルト。で、他の製品の白い
Okay, so basically what he's talking about there was the belt stuff, because the idea behind these is kids can buy them and you wear them around their waists like the characters do in the show because they're belts. And now he's using an
やつだと、
actual. Oh my god. That must be another bootleg watch. Though I will admit that actually looks a lot better. But again, I have the same issue as with the Gates watch from before. The arrow is on the wrong side. Because that is Zi-O's watch that he's just put in the driver. And Zi-O, as I mentioned earlier, is a main rider watch. I mean, it could possibly work in the armor slot, so like Gates could go into Zi-O armor if he managed to get his hands on it. But for the most part, that watch belongs to Zi-O, who to the character behind Zi-O, I forget his name. Shoot, I'm gonna look that up before I completely embarrass myself. I keep getting Gates right because that is literally his name. His name is Getz Myokian. I am so sorry. Oh my god, I have no idea how that's supposed to be pronounced for the life of me. Let's see. Is there a pronunciation here? Okay, no, there isn't. So that's supposed to go to Sogo Toikawa? Sogo Toikawa, I'm just gonna say that. But that's Zi-O, that's his watch. That's just now currently sitting in the driver. And again, that's a main watch. So the arrow should be pointing right.
はい。光るだけ。で、同時に入れるとどうなるんだなるのか
Actually, also there's that little hole just sort of up in the top right of the Zi-O watch. You can just kind of see it. I wish I had my cursor so I could point it out. But you can see it top right, sort of just follow that line's going sort of upright, and you'll see it.
ならない。まあ、そんなアクションです。で、こっちだとこう。あれ仕組みがわからん。
So basically, that's how it's. Well, that's I should could have mentioned this. He basically does show it's supposed to work. At that point, once he spun it, had this been a natural driver, he would it would have started making the whole henshin sequence noises, such as we heard way back.
でちなみにこれ、抜いてみるとピンの形
Judging by the way it was making a sound just then, I'd say it doesn't really matter.
状
So
が
I'll just wait a bit. Oh wow, that's bad. That is definitely pretty bad. So that means if you were to put that in an official Zaku driver, despite the fact that they're supposed to be Zi-O and Gates' ride watches, they would both register as the exact same watch. In fact, I'm going to ask if they can. In fact, I should ask in the Discord for the Kamen Rider Discord if they can tell me which ride watch that would actually register as. In fact, I'm going to take a screenshot of that. I'm going to ask. I'm gonna take a well. Actually, I'll take a screenshot, and I'm going to ask later if they can tell me which one, and I'm going to put that in the comments as to which ride watch that should be registering as if you were to shove these things into an official driver. Because I'm curious now.
同じですね、まあ、このピンの形状に関してはね、過去の動画見ていただけるとお分かりになると思います。
I mean, to be fair, if it was me and I had an official driver, I'd be pulling it out and shoving it into it just to see which ride watch it's registering as.
なくなったぞ。はい、そんなわけでね、今回の動画は簡単でありますけど以上となります。はい、2020年本当にね、ありがとうございました。まあ、2021年はね、いろいろ予定はしてるんですけど、どうなるかわかんないんですけど。
So, all in all, that's pretty. Oh, that is horrific. You can't even see Zi-O's eyes in that. But anyways, that's Toyhappy's video on this fake ass Zaku driver. I wish I could understand Japanese enough and that, or that there was a, yeah, or that YouTube's translation wasn't complete crap when it came to translating. But damn, I was I was not expecting this. The only reason I'm doing this is to kind of get my mind off the fact that it's pretty damn hot over here. And to kind of laugh at it. I might see if he's got any other videos. And just, see what else. But, till next time.